You guys, everything you do. For the Unified Champion Schools team for Special Olympics Illinois, Melissa, Jen, and Jillian. Thanks. And we're going to introduce Marques. Marques knows that we have teachers, coaches, and we even have some athletes on here and some Special Olympics Illinois staff. So I will hand it over. Thanks, Marques.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Melissa. Hello, everybody. My name is Marques Ogden. I'm from Washington, D.C. I currently live now in Raleigh, North Carolina with my wife and two daughters. My wife is actually a teacher. She's a fifth grade teacher. She teaches social studies and English. And I'm a dad of two young ladies. One is 17 and one is 6.5. I'm here to talk to you all today about the power of serving your community as a teacher, as a coach, as a young athlete. Mahatma Gandhi had a phenomenal quote: "The heart and soul of an organization's culture rests within its employees." He always was talking about how when you have a phenomenal culture at an organization, it really is in the hearts and the souls of the people that are in that organization. You all are doing a phenomenal job in Illinois Special Olympics as a coach, mentor, teacher, student athlete. You are making yourself very proud and you are representing Illinois in a very positive light. And I think it's so important because if you're going to serve people, you need to understand that servant leadership is the art of getting people to do what you want done because they want to do it. So when you're trying to lead people as a teacher, as a coach, as an athlete, you have to lead by example. You have to do the actions, less talk, more work, less chitter chatter, and just be exactly what you are, present in the moment, and be there for yourself as a coach, as a student, and making sure that you're working together to help people get to that next level and enjoy what they're doing. So before I get into the action steps around how you have to have an unbreakable mindset, along with how you can serve people in a 5-step acronym, I think it's very important you all know a little bit about me, my story, what I've been through, and how when I serve people in the right way, great things happen for me. When I became very arrogant, very egotistical, and I stopped serving people, a lot of things in my life happened for the bad. And I ended up losing a lot of things in my life. My home, my cars, friends, family, you name it. But, so let's go back. So again, I'm from Washington, D.C. I was raised actually by a single father. My brother was in the NFL also for 12 years. He played with the Ravens for his entire career. We were raised by a single dad. Our father served us as a phenomenal father figure and as a mother figure, really. He was always in our lives every single day. He taught us how to respect women. He taught us how to respect ourselves. And he taught us about education over sports. Now, when I was growing up around you all's age, I did not play any type of I didn't play any type of organized sports. I was into, doing things like, with my friends and all that, but I was too large to play any type of regular football. And I wasn't really skilled enough to do basketball, baseball, anything like that, any type of track and field events. So what you are doing right now as young athletes, I am very, very inspired by you because I know how hard it is as a former athlete, how hard you work, how hard you're dedicated. And as a coach and a teacher, as what I call a mentor to these young people, what you all are doing is setting the bar very high for them to have success when they're growing up, when they're grown up and in life. I'm very, very disappointed in what's going on in the world right now when it comes to young athletes. I'm seeing sometimes that when they have a chance to meet some great people, they're not respecting these athletes. For example, Cam Newton has had a football camp where a young athlete was very disrespectful to Cam Newton. I'm like, how can you be a high school athlete? You haven't played any type of college ball, any type of real sports, and you're going to insult a #1 draft pick, a Super Bowl runner-up, an athlete you are at his football camp. You are there to learn from him, and you're calling him a bum or not good. Like, what type of training is that? This is where coaches, mentors, people like you are going to help guide these student athletes and make them understand what they need to do and how they need to respect people, respect their elders. And for goodness sakes, as you're trying to embark down a road of success in playing a sport, if you meet an athlete who's been where you're trying to go, respect that athlete. Serve them in the way of just letting them, showing them the respect that they deserve. I mean, that's just really what it all comes down to. So you all right now, what you're doing and you're learning from these mentors and these teachers, and what you teachers are doing, giving your time, like Melissa said, you're dedicated to what you're doing. This is exactly why you are so special to these young athletes, because you're giving them hope and you're breathing inspiration into them so they can have a good trajectory for the rest of their lives. I remember all of my coaches that were the best coaches around you all's age. I had a young basketball coach, AAU sports. I remember him teaching me about discipline and hard work when I was 12 years old. So again, mentors, teachers, coaches, they play a huge part in young athletes' lives, not just for that point that they're at. They play a huge role as that athlete develops into becoming an adult and moving into the rest of their lives. So again, our father raised us by himself. I actually ended up playing football in high school. I got a full scholarship offer to go to Howard University and play in Washington, D.C. That was the only scholarship offer that I got. Not the only one. And I tell all of my young athletes that I train, I tell people in life in general, all you need is one place, one opportunity to be your best. And what your coaches and mentors are giving you is a chance to be your best. And you as a teacher or mentor on this call, you are taking time from your day to inspire young athletes so when they grow up, they can be their best. So I went to Howard University. I was a 4-year starter at Howard. I had no intention on being a professional athlete. When I got to Howard, I was like, wow, I'm here at Howard. I'm going to get a great education. I'm going to get my degree. And I'm going to go be an investment banker. But as I developed, because of my great coaching and my mentors, I got better at Howard every year. And then going to my last year, NFL scouts said, Marques, you are on our draft boards. You are good enough to play this game at a high level because you've been taught the game for such a very long time by the right people in your life. So I ended up getting drafted into the National Football League out of Howard University. I'm the first and only offensive lineman to date to ever be drafted from Howard to the National Football League. When I got to the National Football League, I was drafted by Jack Del Rio, who's now the defensive coordinator for the Washington football team currently today. Jack was a rookie, young head coach when I got drafted. Never gonna forget what Jack told me. He said, Marques, in life, be your own CEO. Learn how to serve people on your team, your coaches, your community. Learn how to do this now. So as you grow older and you walk away from the game of football, you're going to have a positive outlook and a positive start on life. As I told you all earlier, coaches, mentors, guidance people like yourself or on the call, what you do is you give young athletes direction. When Jack told me to be my own CEO, I was 22 years old. I will never, ever forget what he told me. I've had a lot of coaches in my career. I played for the Jaguars, I played for the Ravens, I played for the Bills, and I played for the Titans. I've been all around the Mulberry Bush. A lot of my former coaches are now in the league still coaching. Some of my former teammates are now coaching in the NFL. One of my draft class teammates just won the Super Bowl with the Bucs. He's Tom Brady's quarterback coach. But again, I remember Jack telling all of us, Byron, myself, our entire draft class, be your own CEO. learn how to serve people the way you want to be treated. And if you do that, you have a very good chance of having success away from football or coaching football, or however you want to look at it. So from there, I had a phenomenal experience in the NFL, almost 6-year career. But when my career was over, I struggled immensely with transition. One of the things I should have done, I should have gone back to my coaches, my mentors, my advisors that were guiding me. I should have gone back to them and figured out from them, what could I do to now transition? But because I didn't do that, I went at this all alone. So for 6 months, I was hooked on alcohol. I was hooked on painkillers because football had torn my body up. I was hooked on gambling and nightlife, everything bad. Because as a young athlete who no longer had the sport, I didn't understand that I could have leaned on my past coaches, mentors, and guidance people from that. Oh, what's up? You played with Joe Taylor? Oh, at Joe Taylor. Very nice. I like that, Rick. I like Joe Taylor was at Hampton University, phenomenal coach, phenomenal leader, phenomenal individual. And again, he is the only coach I remember from college that was the opposing coach that I had the most respect for. The way he ran his football program, the way he treated people, the way he served his players, his younger coaching staff, he did a phenomenal job in developing them into phenomenal players and coaches that as he transitioned away from the game, they took his place. And Rick, that's what I'm talking about. That is what serve is all about. It's all about your ability to bring up people that you're trying to guide so they know how to bring up other people and you start to create a positive legacy. That's what it's all about. So again, when I left the game, I was not prepared. So eventually, after having about 6 months of difficulty and trauma and a really hard time, I found a construction business, Caden Premier Enterprises. We grew to become the largest African-American subcontracting company in the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland for 2 years. Now, how did I do that? How did we do that? We literally were the best at serving our clients, and we were the best at always taking care of our job and responsibility. So for the first 3 years, we went from a $0 company to an 8-figure-a-year business. And to answer the question, Chris, no, I don't play football anymore. People say I should play football. I think I look like the build to play football, but I don't play anymore. And the Raiders fan, I like that, Kaylee. Jack Del Rio was a phenomenal coach for the Raiders. He got a really bad deal. One thing about Jack, he was such a player's coach that sometimes what he did, he would put himself in a position that if a coach was struggling or a player was struggling, he would take ownership. He would say, I could do better, I could do more. And Jack never threw any coach of his under the bus, never. And as a result of that, sometimes the ownership for teams he was coaching for, Jaguars, Raiders, would make him the fall guy, which is so unfair. Because Jack did a really, really great job of educating his players, preparing us, and going out there for us to do the best we could with what we had. So the fact you became a Raiders fan when Jack Del Rio was the coach, that doesn't surprise me, because that's the kind of person that he is. So again, when I ended up in that light, making myself say, hey, look, Marques, here's what we're going to do. Now that you're having this massive company, now that you're doing so well, what do you think I should have done? I should have worked harder to serve people, and I should have worked harder to become a better leader. But unfortunately, like I told Melissa, I went the other way. I stopped serving clients. I stopped listening. I became that former athlete that thought he knew everything. I became that former athlete that if you didn't agree with me or you didn't think I was right, I would either fire you if you worked for me, or I would just move away from you and say, I don't want to be around you. I picked up a very toxic, negative, unhealthy culture. As a student athlete, at some point, you will no longer be an athlete. It's just the way it is. It's the way it's designed. Tom Brady's 43 years old, almost 44. But at some point, I hope sooner than later, love Tom to death, but God knows I can't take any more of his wins. He will retire, right? So for you all, what are you going to do down the line as you play a sport, as you enjoy yourself, as you enjoy the camaraderie, the team environment? What are you going to do, right? And so what I figured out is, now looking on it today, when my company had massive success, I did not serve people like I used to. I didn't serve people in that regard. Oh, by the way, Chris, my favorite player currently today, that's a good question. I would say my favorite player today, you know what? That's today. You know what? I would probably say my favorite player today is probably Russell Wilson. I had a chance to meet him at a football camp at NC State, and he was one of the kindest, most humble, serving type of people I've ever been around. So the fact he's had so much success in the NFL, he's had a lot of success with his life beyond the game, I think it's phenomenal that he's doing so well in that regard. So I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan, and I think where he's going, it's going to be a great place for him to be. But again, so what I ended up doing was I said, hey, if I am not going to serve people correctly, what's going to happen is I'm just going to keep going my way. I'm going to keep doing things the way I think it should be done. Eventually, Tom Brady, of course it is. That's okay. I don't mind Tom Brady. Tom's fine. You know, he wins. I lost him 5 times in my NFL career. Not holding a grudge or anything, but you know, he's a phenomenal football player. I agree with you on that one. But when I stopped serving people, that's when bad things started to happen. So my best employee ended up leaving my organization, and like he predicted, 6 months later, I'm out of business. Bankrupt, lost everything. Home foreclosed on, cars repossessed. I lost it all. I moved down to Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm at currently. When I moved to Raleigh, I had $400 to my name. That's it. What happened to me was I literally, Derek Carr's not bad. He's, Derek Carr's, he's not great, but he's not bad. So it's okay. You're a Raiders fan. I expect that. So the one thing that I had to learn is that when I got here to Raleigh, I was broke. I had no money. I had nothing. I had nothing. So what I had to do was I had to start all over again at the bottom. Worked a couple jobs, didn't work out. I ended up taking a job as a custodian working in downtown Raleigh. And I had a moment where I said, wow, I need to learn how to turn my life around because I'm not serving people. I'm not being humble. As an athlete, I remembered building up my ability to be a great football player. I was humble and I served my coaches, my teammates, my mentors, and everybody around me. So I took the same attributes from being a former NFL player and I used those to build up my speaking career. And because I did that the correct way, I had to work really hard for a lot of years, but now I'm speaking full time. I'm doing this as my career. I truly enjoy it. I love it. And I've gone through a lot of heartaches. I've gone through a lot of hard times. I've gone through a lot of having to relearn myself, realign myself. But again, every time in my life where I've had success, I've done 2 things. I've always listened to my coaches or mentors, and I've always served people to make them feel that they are my number 1 priority. So I'm going to tell you the exact same thing. It's important for you all as young student athletes in the Special Olympics organization to listen to your coaches at all times. Listen to your mentors. If you're a teacher or mentor on this call, you have to understand you have a very big responsibility. The way in which these young athletes are looking for knowledge, looking for guidance, looking for someone to help lead them is the exact same way I remember when I was a young athlete trying to have my coach, my mentors guide me in the right direction. I've been in the NFL, made a lot of money. I have been somebody that had a struggling time transitioning because I didn't listen to people very well. I've been a person that's built a massively successful business. I've also been somebody that lost everything he owned because he stopped serving people the way that they should have been treated. I'm gonna tell you right now, everything that I do and I've gone through, you need to understand that I want you all to be better than me and learn how to become excellent at what you do in the community as a teacher, a coach, a mentor. Now, let's talk about having an unbreakable mindset. As a young athlete, a lot of times it's very hard. It's difficult. It's a lot of work. As a teacher and or mentor, it's a lot of work on you as well. You're sacrificing your time. You're sacrificing your energy. You're sacrificing time with your family. You're sacrificing just your ability to do things on your own schedule once you are done at work. But what I'm trying to get at is that in order to keep pushing forward as a young athlete or keep pushing forward as a young teacher or mentor trying to help these young athletes, there's three things you have to have in order to become a person with an unbreakable mindset. Number one, you have to move with good physiology. Now, what do I mean by physiology? You have to move with high energy. If you're a young athlete that's trying to become better at your craft, you need to be positive. You need to move with energy. You need to be very upbeat, very up tempo. Coaches love athletes who move quickly. They are very expedited. They don't lollygag. Coach, all of my best coaches used to say, don't walk to a drill, run. Don't run to a drill, sprint. That's the type of thing I mean by good physiology. As a coach or a mentor, these young athletes will feed off of your energy. If you are upbeat and have a high tempo, they're going to be upbeat with a high tempo. My AAU basketball coach when I was 12, who I still talk to this day, was just like that. He was about 14 years older than us, and he was very high energy, very high tempo, very just always making sure he moved with energy and was very positive. And that's what I remember about him most when I was 12. Now that I'm 40 and he's 54, we still have a very good relationship. I call him for advice. I ask him for guidance because he's been where I haven't been yet. So if I need help along my journey, I will go to him. When I was coaching young athletes, I would contact him. Hey, Coach Jackson, what if I try doing something this way? Oh, I'm having a problem with this young athlete. Maybe I should try it this way. I learned how to lean on him for mentorship and guidance. But you as a teacher or mentor on this call, you have to move with good energy. And as a young athlete, you need to give the coaches the same respect and move with high energy and high effort. It makes a difference. The second thing you have to do, control your mental focus. As a young athlete, you cannot worry about things you cannot control. If one athlete's doing something that you can't do, don't focus on that. Focus on how you can get better at what you need to do, and you go do what you can do. Do the best you can. So many athletes get caught up in trying to compare themselves to other athletes. Problem is, that athlete is not you, and you aren't that athlete. So don't worry about that. Control your mental focus. As a teacher or mentor, Control your mental focus. If your athletes aren't having the best day, you can push them, but you can't make them turn the light switch on. We would love to do that, but we can't. So what we have to do is we have to learn to control what we can control, which is ourselves. You can't control what somebody says to you, but you can control how you react. Plain and simple. My coach who said it all the time, Jack Del Rio had a saying, if I tell you to do something, I'm finished. I can't make you do what I tell you to do. You can either do it or not. It's up to you. So you have to control your mental focus as an athlete, as a coach, and or mentor. And the third thing you have to do to have an unbreakable mindset, you have to believe at your core that you deserve to succeed. Everybody on this call deserves to succeed. But I tell people all the time, the worst enemy on our journey is usually ourselves. It's our mindset. We are the biggest culprit that holds us back. When I started speaking, I faced a lot of negativity. Marques, you're never going to succeed. Marques, go coach sports. Marques, you're never going to be anything, beyond just a former football player. And I started to allow that into my mindset. I said, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not going to be good at this. What am I thinking about? Why am I doing this? And eventually, after I had a wake-up moment, I said, wow, I can do this. Wow, I deserve to succeed at this new path I'm going down. Same thing for you all. You all put in the hard work as athletes, as coaches, as mentors. You deserve to succeed. But if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody can make you become a self-starter. Never going to happen. And that's why the word self is in front of it. You have to make the decisions as an athlete. You're going to believe in yourself no matter what. As a coach or mentor, you have to believe in yourself that you're doing the best thing for your athletes. Plain and simple. Again, Jack Del Rio said it best. I can tell you to do something. I can tell you to believe in something. It's your choice. That's what it is. And that's why I am not surprised that Jack Del Rio is back in the NFL coaching as a main position coach. And eventually, if he wants to be, he'll be a head coach again. So again, those are three things you need to do to have an unbreakable mindset. Good physiology, control your mental focus, believe that you deserve to succeed. And the last part is serve. Here's a 5-step process to help you serve people as a coach, mentor, or an athlete. The S is sincere. If you're going to do something as a coach or mentor, if you're going to take time from your day, from your schedule to give back to these kids, to these youth athletes, be sincere about it. We can tell, even as young people, someone who wants to help us or not help us. I've had all types of coaches. I had coaches growing up that I could tell didn't want to be there. Then I had coaches like Coach Jackson. I had coaches like my offensive line coach at Howard, Coach Dean. I had coaches like my head coach at Howard, Coach Steve Wilson, that I could tell were sincere about helping me be the best athlete I could and about being the best person I could. So as an athlete, as a mentor and or teacher, be sincere. As an athlete, if you're going to choose to do this, be sincere and give it everything you have. Don't go into something, I'm going to do a little bit of here. I'm going to try my best here. No, you try your best every day. Be sincere in your approach. And what that means is you're going to do something, you're going to take time from your day, give it all that you have and be real, authentic, and sincere about it. So that's the S for serve. The E is engagement. People can tell when you're talking to them, when you're speaking to them, if you're doing it from a position of passion or because you have to do it. There's a huge difference. When you're speaking to somebody with energy, with passion, with that desire to help them, comes across as true engagement. As an athlete, engage your coaches, engage your teammates. Be somebody that is helpful. Be someone that they can count on. Be a leader. Being a follower is very easy. The pack goes this way, I'm gonna go that way. You all go this way, I'm gonna go that way. When the pack goes this way, if you're a leader, you can go that way. But you have to be engaging. People are gonna follow you and see you as a high-level athlete if you are engaging. As a coach or mentor, it's your job to engage these young athletes and be authentic. Give them the good, the bad, the ugly. Tell them what you've been through, share experiences. Athletes can tell when we're struggling. If our coach can give us stories or examples of what they've gone through that to help us go through the barrier, we can get it done. So again, it really comes down to how engaging are you? Are you there because you have to be, or are you there because you want to be? There's a huge difference. The R is radiant. If you're not going to be positive, if you're not going to be uplifting, if you're not going to be upbeat, if you're not going to be very just energetic about what you're doing, don't even bother doing it. As a young athlete, if you're not going to be radiant and happy about what you're doing, don't do it. As a mentor and or a coach, if you're not excited or positive or radiant, don't bother. We know the difference. But when we see you are radiant, it helps us as athletes get through tough times. I can't tell you how many tough times I had in the National Football League playing. Bad days, bad practices, bad personal days, all kinds of stuff I had going on my mind. The best coaches I had were the ones that I could tell were energetic, wanted to be there, and I could go and talk to them and get some guidance and advice to get through hard times. I could tell that very, very easily. But again, you have to be radiant and you have to come across that you really want to be there. The V is valiant. This one is going to be really on the coaches and mentors. As a coach and or a mentor, sometimes you have to have the tough conversations. The way it is. If you have an athlete that you know is not giving it their all, you need to have the ability and you need to have the communication skill sets to have those valiant conversations. It's not about tearing them down. It's about, okay, talk with them about where they're at. What's the issue? What might be the problem? Figure out what the problem might be and then present solutions. I tell people all the time, athletes are human beings with extraordinary skill sets. That's what it is. That's what athletes are. But again, the human factor is number one. So if we're having bad days, coaches that we know can talk with us and have valiant, difficult, hard conversations are the ones that we know can help us push through any type of hard time. And the last E is everlasting. When you're an athlete and you're a mentor or coach, the way in which you all have your relationship should be approached that you're going to talk to this person for everlasting time frame. With Coach Jackson, again, I met him when I was 12. He was 26. I'm 40. He's 54. I have talked with him every year of my life, and it's never going to change. My old strength coach from Howard University, Coach Camaforo, was one of the best coaches I ever had in my life. I only had him for 1 year. My last year at Howard was the only time I had him as my coach. But I tell you what, he left the longest, deepest impression on me in my life because he helped me to push through when I didn't believe in myself. I said, Coach K, how am I going to be an NFL draft pick? I'm in Howard. I'm a great player, but I didn't really do very well, in high school and college. I mean, I did okay, but I mean, am I really ready for the NFL? Am I big enough? Am I strong enough? Am I fast enough? Am I good enough? And Coach K said, Marques, look, give me this entire year to train you during the season and after the season. By the time I'm done, you'll be strong enough, fast enough, big enough to play the NFL. If you want to do it, if you want to be there. Now think about that, everybody. Take serve. He was sincere in his approach. He told me about what I could do and how he believed in me. He engaged me. He knew I was struggling with, wow, am I going to be an NFL athlete? I've got one more year. Like, is this going to really happen? Like, what's going to happen to me? Like, is this going to really go down this way? He engaged me. He said, Marques, you are good enough, but let me train for a year. You'll be even better. He was always radiant, always positive, funny, high energy, always valiant. He would always have the tough conversation with me at all times. Marques, you're doing well here, but you need to be doing this more. You could be doing well there. You got to do that more. These are the things that he did. And the last one is everlasting. He and I have been friends since 2002, and it will always be that way until the end of time that we're here. So again, the way in which my coach, Keith Camaforo, served me when I was an athlete at Howard is why I got to the National Football League and played for almost 6 years. So again, as an athlete, serve your coaches. As a coach or mentor, serve your athletes. Be sincere, be engaging, be radiant, be valiant, and have an everlasting approach to how you speak to somebody. And have an unbreakable mindset. Good physiology, control your mental focus, believe that you deserve to succeed. If you can do these things for yourself, for your community, for the Special Olympics of Illinois, you all can train and have some phenomenal athletes. You all can have some phenomenal coaches and mentors, but it all starts with you. And then in closing, Melissa will open for Q&A. In closing, at the end of the day, you all have chosen to do this as an athlete, as a coach or mentor. So now that you're here, you might as well give it your all. Never, ever live your life with that horrible word of regrets. Well, what if I had tried harder? What if I had done this? And I know a lot of athletes that have regrets because they didn't serve people correctly. They didn't have a strong mindset. They didn't push through adversity. They should have done this better. They should have done that better. I mean, all types. I know a ton of athletes, including myself, that have regrets from our playing days. Learn from our mistakes. You can only control what you do, but don't ever shortchange yourself as a coach, mentor, or as an athlete because you did not give it your all and you know you did. Melissa?
Awesome. Thanks. That was awesome. I think it's inspiring to hear. It's crazy to think that, I think oftentimes you said it before that we think that a professional sports player is so far removed from us or our athletes, and everyone is the same. Like, right. We've all been through tough times and awesome times. And I think, in our field as a former teacher and with, former and current coach, I think that serving our athletes and our students is like our mission and what we love to do. So that was awesome. We have like about 15 minutes or so. We have some Q&A, and then we do have actually 2 of Marques's books that we are going to get autographed and shipped out to 2 lucky winners. So Jillian will do that raffle in a little bit, but we'll open it up to some questions right now. So feel free to unmute yourself or throw it in the chat and we'll keep an eye on it.
Oh, I thought I was mine. Oh. Hi, Deborah. I think that's a very interesting statement you made. Lead by example, not lecture. The coaches that I had in my career that were yellers, screamers, they didn't reach me very well. The ones that spoke to me, talked to me, engaged me, those were the ones that really helped touch me to become who I was athletically. And in my construction company, when I was a very humble, very servant business owner, we had massive success. But the minute I became a yeller, a screamer, very arrogant, within 6 months of that type of mentality, Deborah, I lost my home. I lost all my money. I lost both my cars. I was evicted and my house was foreclosed on. I lost everything because I became one thing I really dreaded most in life, a horrible egomaniac boss that would yell at people, scream at people, and I made mistakes. And you know what, Stephanie? The one thing I'll say is what I learned in that process is that people are people. And I will never again be in a position where I treat people in the wrong way because I'm successful. Because at the end of the day, success is not about money, it's not about fame, it's all about that stuff. Melissa just said it best. What you all are doing is you are creating, as a coach or mentor, your mission is to serve these athletes to give them the best chance they can have to succeed. That's your mission. That's what all coaches do. They really make ourselves, I'm just looking at your motto, enter to learn, depart to serve. Laura, I think that's phenomenal. When you come in somewhere and you're trying to learn, when you enter to learn, you're putting yourself in a mindset where when someone's talking to you, engaging you, you're actually listening to process. You're not listening to respond. And when you depart where you are, you should depart and then you should be guiding people with what you've learned. Young athletes need people like you all, Melissa, Deborah, all these great coaches. They need you all because right now, unfortunately, all across the globe, especially our country, we need more people like yourself to be the example, to help these athletes stay on the right track. Because as the young athletes start getting more success and you have social medias out there, all kind of crazy stuff, the athletes are growing up way faster today than we did when we were younger. So we need you all to help be that positive example so they can stay on the right path and not veer off and make mistakes that could cost them that. So like that young kid, Cam Newton, if I'm a coach and I see that young kid mouthing up to Cam Newton, I'm going to walk right on by him. I'm not going to give him a scholarship. Why would I? If he can't respect a high-level first pick overall NFL athlete, and he's at his camp, he won't respect me as his coach. He's not gonna listen to me. Like he's not gonna listen to Cam Newton. He's not gonna listen to me. So why would I want to bring him to my college? I don't want that. No matter how talented he is, how good he is on the field, that doesn't make sense. Can I break Louis Burrell? Can you briefly discuss unbreakable mindset? Sure, Louis. So when it comes to unbreakable mindset, right, Louis? In life, we're gonna face adversity. We're gonna face hard times. We're gonna face struggles. So the first thing we need to do to have a strong, unbreakable mindset is number one, have good physiology. The way we move, the way we're energetic, the way we're passionate, it puts into our mind that we can succeed under any circumstances. So the good physiology, Louis, is more for us as the individual to keep ourselves going in a positive mindset. The second thing we need to do is control your mental focus. When you're controlling what you can control, that puts you in a position of actually not worrying about other people. Most people's mindsets break, Louis, because they're spending their entire life trying to compare themselves to other people. I call it the social media comparison game. Oh, they're traveling to this place. Oh, they have this car. Oh, they have this house. All this other stuff. You can't worry about that. You can only control, as a coach, mentor, or an athlete, things that you can do. yourself, your work ethic, your time management. So again, you have to control your mental focus and focus on what you can control and what you can do with your life. And the third one, Louis, is believe at your core you deserve to succeed. Most people in life, their biggest enemy, Louis, is themselves. Self-doubt, creeping out that I can't get it done. All these things. So what you have to do is you have to control and believe that you can succeed no matter what. If we can get out of our own way, Louis, and our mindset becomes when we believe in ourselves, then we're in a position to succeed. So again, Louis, when it comes to unbreakable mindset, we must move with good physiology, good energy, be up tempo, control our mental focus, worry about what you can do, nothing else, and believe at your core you can succeed. Don't let your mindset be your biggest enemy. Don't allow your fear or self-doubt to get in the way and cause your mindset to snap, because all you're doing is focusing on things and saying, well, I can't succeed. I don't deserve it. No, you do deserve it. But if you don't believe it, it's never going to happen, no matter what. Does that answer your question, Louis?
Yeah, I hope you don't mind me coming off of mute, but I personally wanted to thank you. And this is an awesome talk right now. So again, I'm a high school girls basketball coach, and everything you're saying here I can relate to. So again, I just want to thank you, and I did answer my question.
Awesome, Louis. And here's the thing, Louis, thank you for your service as being a coach, because at times it's a thankless job. But without coaches, without teachers, our society is finished. It's done. Because if we don't have teachers to educate our students and our youth, what do we have? A society full of people who are never going to get where they need to go. And without coaches, we don't have what? Guidance. We don't have that consistency that we need to have, that positive, encouraging factor. Every time I see a coach, and his thing, coach, I mean, that's just what I say. Every time I tell somebody they're a coach, I'm like, what's up, coach? Like, I am just ingrained. What's up, coach? How you doing, coach? Like, that's how I talk to people. If I see coach in your title on LinkedIn, when I talk to you in your line, I just automatically say, what's up, coach? How you doing, coach? Like, that's how I'm trained, because growing up for me, I don't care who you are. When I see coach, you get my respect, because that's telling me that you're in a position of what? Of being a leader, of being a trendsetter. And we need more people like you, Louis, who are going out there and fighting that battle of social media comparison, crazy with YouTube, TikTok, all this other stuff, man. We didn't have all that, Louis, growing up. We had none of that stuff, man. We didn't have all that. If we did, man, no, right? You go out and play until you're out on the street light and play until night and then come home, get dinner, go out again. But people like you, Louis, are changing the game. So again, when I see coach, I say, thanks, coach, because that's just how I'm ingrained, because that tells me you're in a position of authority to be automatically respected right away.
All right, awesome. Great question, Louis, and great response, Marques. That was awesome. But we're going to come back to questions, but we're just going to take a real quick break and do our wheel of fun to decide, to figure out who's going to get our the autograph books. So let me just pull up our wheel really fast here, and we're going to go ahead and spin.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Belcaster. Joe, if you could please, you're going to be our first winner of 2. If you could send us your address, your shipping address, to our UCS at SOILL.org email, that would be wonderful. We'll get you that autographed copy of Marques's book. And our second winner is going to be how perfect. Louis, congratulations.
Yeah, Louis.
I'm gonna toss the email address into the chat for you. But if you two could send us your shipping addresses, that would be wonderful. And then we'll get you these books as soon as we have them, the autographed copies of Marques Ogden's new book. So tossing it in the chat for you real quick. Thanks, guys. And then yeah, we can go back to questions if anybody has any other questions for our guest. We'd love to have you keep answering.
Anyone else have any questions?
Marques, I just wanted to take a second and just thank you so much for your time, your effort, preparing with us in advance for this. This is exactly the type of message that we need to hear. So we greatly appreciate you and all the time and dedication that you put forward for this. Much appreciated.
Well, thank you, Jen. I think it's very important that, with my wife being a teacher, it's absolutely important to me that you all know how valued you are from people like myself, because teachers it's such a thankless job, but it doesn't need to be, because without teachers, like I just told Louis, our society is in mutiny because we don't have education, we don't have proper manners, we don't have etiquette, and parents are working jobs to support the family. So who do our kids spend a lot of time with? The teachers, the coaches, the mentors. So we need that. So what you all are doing is taking time from your day to mold and shape young leaders of tomorrow. So I'm just honored to be here, because I know, as a father of 2 young children, 2 daughters, that without their coaches and without their mentors, they're not going to get the things that they need to get. And I'm just so proud that they're getting from the right people. You all are the right people who are doing a great thing for your community and for the athletes as a whole. So thank you all for what you all do to make these athletes' lives so much better.
Hey, it's me again. So
Yeah.
so I was wondering, you said when you went to college, you planned on going into investment banking is what it was?
Correct.
Okay, so how did that carry over into doing construction after football?
That's a great question, Louis. So when I left the NFL, I was in a really dark place. I was like an alcoholic for a while, I was depressed, and I ended up getting into construction, Louis, for all the wrong reasons. I went to a course at USC, learned some things about it, but I was chasing money. I was chasing fame. I was chasing notoriety, and I ended up getting it. But like I tell everybody, when you chase something that's external or motivating factors, if you're not passionate about it, you will burn out. And I burned out. And when my best employee left, Louis, it was all downhill from there. So I got into construction by accident, trying to chase the almighty dollar. Got the almighty dollar. God said, Marques, no, you don't need to be doing this. Took it all away from me and brought me down here to Raleigh. Now I'm doing what I should have been doing the whole time, which is helping others be great. Because I love what I do. This is my passion, it's my work. And at all costs, Louis, it's about helping people succeed where I have failed by sharing with them my experiences. They don't make the same mistakes I did. That's my calling.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks again for taking your time, everybody, and Marques, you too as well. It's super inspiring and awesome. And when Marques does pass through Illinois, you never know. Maybe he'll be at one of our events passing out medals and whatnot, or lunches, or being a unified partner, maybe a coach, whatever. But we're really excited, and we're really.
I'm reading Chandra's question. What does Chandra's question say? I want to answer that real fast.
A little bit more difficult to work with athletes with developmental disabilities. Did you have any experiences working with other athletes with mental disorders? What are some skills that you recommend working with them? I definitely agree with you saying to watch your tone and the way you say things.
So what I would tell you when you're working with athletes with disabilities, what we have to remember is you have to get to learn that athlete. Are they more visual? Or are they more audio? So what I have found is, because I've worked with people in my football camps that had disabilities, I got to learn the young athlete from the parent and from evaluating them throughout the camp, kind of like the early camp process, like our warm-ups, things like that, that I would start to really do my coaching based upon more if they were more audio or more visual. And I would start to just break things down slower and understand it's going to be more on me But if I could just get to that point, the athlete can understand me in the best way that they can process information, I could then help reach that young athlete. So I have really worked hard on that, and I have dealt with that. And again, learning the athlete's response, what they respond best to, whatever sense that is, then I've used that to play upon the ability to engage them and have those conversations and have those coaching be geared more to the athlete's sense that they think they do better, either audio or visual, depending upon the athlete and what their makeup is.
All right, that was a good question. We will send out the recording of this in case you wanted to share with any other staff members or anyone at your school or anyone really. So thank you again, everybody. Marques, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. And yeah, it was awesome. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. I'll see you all later. I really appreciate it. And let's get a little picture there with everybody. And awesome. Perfect.
All right.
So
Bye,
yeah,
everyone.
bye, Melissa. Feel free, Melissa, if you want to give everybody my